Good afternoon. Happy Saturday, part two. Yeah, you get two videos in one day. I hope you feel good about yourself. I was watching, well, let me step back. I don't subscribe to Schrödinger's cat. Van Balen, I do subscribe to, and he linked this particular video in a comment, I guess. What do they call that? Community post. And so I watched it, and I figured, you know what? If any video ever called for me to comment on, it's this video. I don't know if this is Schrödinger's cat style or if this is a one-off. I don't really know anything about him. But, we can make a few assumptions. Number one, from his name, we could assume that he likes science. He thinks he's a smart guy. Look how sciencey I am. I call myself Schrödinger's cat. Ha ha! I both exist and don't exist at the same time until you open the box. Whoa, look how smart I am and sciencey guy. Or something. I'm not entirely sure. I'm guessing he's in the Navy because we've got a submarine here and a Navy anchor there. So that's interesting. He doesn't follow any particular grammar style that I'm aware of in capitalizing the first letter of every word in his title. Generally, if you're going to do capitalizations of the first letters of words in your title, it would be like first, capital amendment, capital lowercase gets, capital arrested, depending on the grammar style, because may or may not be. He probably would be, I think, in all the grammar styles I'm aware of, pronouns are. Thinks would be, he again would be, is would be, the would not be, smart. Generally speaking, I think it would be. And then period. And then he starts off another sentence with but. Now, again, is the smart? I'm sure he's trying to, have fun with his title. I don't know. I mean, if you're going to call someone dumb, you probably shouldn't look dumb doing it. He doesn't link to anything that he mentions in the video. This link right here does not go to Delaware Defender. It ends with /join. It's just this button in a link because he wants your monies. It is a monetized video. I do have ad blocker on those, so we won't get any ads. It sucks for him, I guess. And we're going to watch this video. I've already skipped ahead, by the way. You'll see that I've skipped ahead 55 seconds because the first, I don't know. There's a lot of introduction, a lot of title, and then he blasts out his most recent subscribers, and good for him. Good for him. He's got a great like to dislike ratio. Good for him. He's probably really catered to a group of people who are as tribalistic as he is. They don't question what Schrödinger's cat tells them. They just, he's on my side, and the auditors are not on my side. And so I'm happy when bad things happen to auditors, and it doesn't matter if they're technically correct in what they're doing, etc., etc. So, yeah, tribalism, always fun. So let's get into it. Let's see what Schrödinger's cat, what delightful insights Schrödinger's cat is going to have for us today, because I'm sure that Schrödinger's cat is going to give us some real in-depth knowledge and understanding of exactly why Delaware Defender is, and I quote, the dumb. Let's begin.
Today's idiot is Delaware Defender. I don't know what he's defending other than stupid.
Well, we started off strong there. 2 insults in the first 5 seconds. Congratulations. And if you're wondering why I started this off with insults, well, it's because this guy starts off with insults. So I'm meeting him on his level because I'm petty like that. I don't subscribe to Delaware Defender, by the way, although I will put a link to his video in my description because that's the kind of guy I am. So, and we have a straw man argument. I don't know what he's defending. Well, so if you were going to steel man, Delaware defender, you would say, well, he is defending First Amendment rights and liberties, and he is educating the police on his right to film in public, as well as he's educating the public on his right, everybody's right to film in public, things that you could see from traditional public forums. I mean, easy peasy lemon squeezy there, right? And as long as he's not doing anything illegal, as long as he is just exercising his constitutionally protected First Amendment right to film in public, then there should be no problem. He should not be harassed by the cops. He should not be arrested. But let's proceed.
He has a major case of Dunning-Kruger, and his misunderstandings land him in jail.
He has a major case of Dunning-Kruger. You should always, always make sure that you aren't rolling through Dunning-Kruger territory before you accuse someone else of doing it.
Let's watch.
Police are on scene.
So just so you guys know where we are, we're at 274 Nelson Street. Where the auditor is currently located is, I think, right about here. Let's go to Street View, shall we? Let's plunk her down right about there. So I believe that the auditor is located right around here, maybe right here, somewhere in this general vicinity. You'll see this sign. You'll see this driveway. You'll see this well-worn footpath where people are walking. They always walk there. It looks like they walk this way. You'll even see some people walking, at least in Delaware Defender's video. I'm not sure on this video anymore, but that is a commonly used walkway. You'll see this gray building. You'll see the railroad tracks. You'll see this brick building with the white doors. So this is my best estimate of where Delaware Defender is standing. You can see that he's right along the side of the road. And yeah, doesn't appear to be bothering anybody.
Here we go. Is he gonna block the road? What's happening, man? Just getting some pictures. Yeah. I'm just working on a little news story. I'm just working on a little news story about the health and food industry and stuff, yeah.
Before I let Schrödinger's cat speak, I just want to point out that Delaware Defender is under no obligation to tell the officer exactly what he's doing. And in fact, you could call Delaware Defender an undercover reporter at this point, because he is telling the officer he's doing one thing when in actuality he is trying to gather evidence of police corruption or police misconduct or police misunderstanding of the laws, etc. But that's just me steel manning Delaware Defender, who, you know, don't get me wrong, I've never watched any video other than this one of his. So, I mean, I don't know what kind of person he's, and I'm not trying to make him out to be a hero. I'm just saying that if you are actually being, I don't know, charitable, then you could approach it differently than what Schrödinger's cat does.
That sounds like an interesting story. I wonder when it comes out. Spoiler alert, never.
Well, I mean, I guess Schrödinger's cat now is able to predict the future. Who knows what Delaware Defender is going to do? Theoretically, someday he could gather all of the footage that he's taken of this place and make a story out of it. You may not find it very interesting or compelling, but he might do it. So, yeah.
That's all.
You work for a company or?
No, I'm just independent. Just trying to get my own thing going.
Okay. I always had someone call in saying you're riding around with a camera, that's all.
I'm sure. I'm surprised. No one even came out, so I'm surprised. Usually they'll come out and harass me for a little bit before they call you guys.
Yeah.
But
They might sooner or later.
they might, yeah, I don't know, so.
Okay.
All right.
I was just wondering what you was up to.
You're good, man.
What's your name?
I'm not giving any ID today.
No idea.
Nah, you're good, man.
All right.
Appreciate it, man. What was your name?
Officer Lee.
Lee? Thank you, sir.
You have to stay safe. Don't get hit by the car.
That's why I try to wear this vest, man. It helps some a little bit.
That was a good interaction, I think, by both the auditor and the officer. The officer is more than allowed, I guess. I don't know how it could be more than allowed, but the officer is entitled to, he's allowed to ask for ID, ask for names, and the auditor is under no obligation to give his ID or give his name. And the officer respected that. It was calm. I'm sure the officer realized that this guy is no threat, and, case closed, problem solved. There you go. Let's see what Schrödinger's cat has to say.
Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time. Just kidding. You know me better than that.
And this guy is not intended to be a comedian. I'll tell you that. Because seriously, though, if that was a punchline, that's terrible. Anyway, we're at a new spot. I just want to point out that he is, again, right by the side of the road. And let's figure out where he is. He has moved down. Let's get out of this. Let's go down here. He has moved down the street to right about... He has his skateboard leaning up against this post right here. So he's right about, he's on this side of the post. That's not a big post. I mean, that is not far at all from the roadway. Okay. So he's got a skateboard leaned up against this post right here. He's standing on this side of the post, on the street side of the post. So it seems legit. I just also want to point out that this building right over here, this particular image capture was from 2015, but this building over here or this building over here, one of them is a police department. If we back out of the map, you can see the Hurlock Police Department right there. So let's see what happens. He's on the side of the road, a few feet, maybe 3-4 feet away from the street, from the actual paved surface of the street. Let's see what happens.
What, did Lee not do a good enough job?
What's that?
Lee already responded out here.
You can't be on private property videotaping.
Whoa. Can't be on private property videotaping. I will admit I did search through the Maryland statutes and I couldn't find that particular statute. So, I mean, I'm sure that any second now Schrödinger's cat is going to cut this and explain that, number one, the First Amendment auditor is not on private property, and number two, there is no statute, even if you were on a private property, preventing him from filming. So we'll just wait for Schrödinger's cat to stop the video right there.
What's that sticker say on it?
Yeah, that's Department of Transportation.
Well, yeah, the state of Maryland put this here.
Yeah, well, this here is private property. This
Again, another wrong statement by the officer. He just said this here is private property. Why hasn't Schrödinger's cat stopped the video yet? Could it be a bad case of tribalism? Or perhaps Schrödinger's cat is more interested in just saying, he dumb, rather than actually educating his audience as to what's going on here. And it sounds like the dogs are having fun.
Not where I'm standing, dude.
Yes, it is. You got an ID on you?
Yes, it is. Not where I'm standing. Oh,
Let's go. Arrest.
I keep waiting for Schrödinger's cat to stop the video and explain what exactly is wrong here. But let me help a brother out. This is West's Annotated Code of Maryland in the Transportation tab, Title 8, Subtitle 1. This is the highways. These are their definitions, 8-101. Highway is defined as rights of way, roadway services, roadway subgrades, shoulders. Oh, shoulders. That's an interesting word to use. What is a shoulder defined as? A shoulder means that portion of a roadway. It is a portion of a highway. A shoulder is a portion of a highway contiguous with a roadway for the accommodation of stopped vehicles for emergency use, etc. Where should pedestrians be? This is, again, we're same annotated code. We're in Title 21, subsection 5, 21-506, rules for pedestrians walking along and on roadways. Where a sidewalk is not provided, a pedestrian who walks along and on a highway may walk only on the left shoulder if practicable. So he's where he's supposed to be. He's on the left shoulder, or he's on a shoulder. Now, this is a GIS map. This is the survey map. This is Nelson Street. He is standing right about where the R of that street is concerned. This bright blue line is where the farm's plant ends. Okay? Now, if you... Oop, that didn't work well. Let's go back there. All right. So if you look... Well, it's kind of hard to tell. But if you look, the edge of the paved surface is about halfway between the center line and where the property line is. It's about halfway. And if this will work, we'll go from, well, this is hard to do. I'm just going to do it right here so I can do it along the road. There is a control. Hold on a second. Control. I'm going to try to snap it to there. And we're going to go to, well, I'll unsnap it. There we go. It's about 16 feet. It's roughly 16 feet wide. And to the edge of to the shoulder of the road is about, looks like somewhere in here. It's really blurry, but I'm going to say it's somewhere between 7 and 9 feet. It's hard to tell with the pixelation, whatever it is. But anyway, you get the idea. So he is standing on Nelson Street. I want to get back out of that. There we go. He's standing on Nelson Street, and that's the center line for Nielsen Street, which is owned by Herlock. And I'm not entirely sure how to read the measurements. Sometimes you can get measurements off these things. But as you can see, let me clear that. As you can see, he is well within the highway boundary. Okay?
I'm telling you just to
Arrest me. I'm not, because I'm not. This is a public street sign. Look at it. You're ridiculous. Lee was perfect. You just ruined it for you guys.
You saw the street sign when he swung around there with his skateboard on it. And again, just to make sure that we're all aware of exactly where that street sign is, it is right next to the roadway. I mean, if from the center line, there's 1 to that point there, 2 to that point there. So it is about maybe 4 feet off the side of the road.
You just ruined it. Garvey, you have a badge number?
Yeah, 0142.
Why did you ruin it?
You got an idea?
Leave. I'm not giving it to you.
Yeah.
I'm not trespassing.
You're on private property, buddy.
Again, why hasn't Schrödinger's cat stopped it when the officer has misstated yet again that Delaware Defender is on private property when he clearly is not?
This is a street sign.
Yeah, well, we're not
It's
playing that.
public property. I don't want to play it either. Arrest me.
I'm asking you for your identification.
Come on. I'm not going to resist you at all. I'm not giving it to you. I'll give it to you at the station. I want you to take it all the way. You think you're a bully? Then let's take it all the way.
I'm not a bully. I'm seeing.
I've watched this particular video several times now, and every time that bling bling goes off, I automatically check my phone.
What you're doing. You're on private property.
I already told Lee what I was doing.
Well, you told
I'm
me
not
you
on
told me.
private property.
I'm
You need to
telling
go
you-
look at the map.
Well, I'm telling you, you're on private property.
How do you know?
This is the road. That's the land. That's private.
So the officer is apparently instructing Delaware Defender, instead of walking on the shoulder as practicable, he's telling him to walk actually on the edge of the roadway, on the surface itself. That's interesting. I mean, that doesn't seem safe. And since it is practicable to walk on the shoulder, since it is there and clearly unblocked, why doesn't the officer just allow him to stand on the shoulder? I'm sure if Delaware Defender had been standing on the street, the officer would have come up with some other bitch-ass story about Delaware Defender obstructing traffic or something along those lines. All bullshit.
Property.
There's this thing called an easement, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't have to walk in the street.
It appears that our frauditor friend doesn't know what an easement is.
Well, I think he does know what an easement is. He has. Okay, let me try to break this down for you. I would say that he does know what an easement is. He just doesn't know that that's actually owned by the city. I think he believes there is an easement there for pedestrians to walk, which a lot of times easements are for the purpose of going from one property to another. Like if you have a one parcel that is off the road and blocked from the road by another parcel, there will almost always be an easement for the person who owns the property that doesn't have road access to travel across the property of the person who does have road access to get to the road. So, but let's hear what you have to say. Let's see what magical code book you whip out to show us that Delaware Defender doesn't know what an easement is.
But he thinks he does. Not that it's uncommon for these idiots to think they are smart.
Not that it's uncommon for these idiots to think that they are smart. I mean, we're just right back to the video? You're not going to show us any? Jesus Christ.
And I can walk here. That's why these signs are here.
You're on private property. Video.
Not on private property.
You hear this, dude?
What's that?
You hear this, dude? You were perfect. Why is he gonna ruin it for you guys?
He's not ruining nothing. You weren't on the property earlier. Now you are.
I was in the same
He was in the same exact he was in the same exact highway. He was on the shoulder of the highway.
exact spot.
Oh, you were down the street.
Do you know what this is?
What's that?
A street sign.
Uh-huh.
They can't put their street signs on Amic Farms property.
Yes, they can.
He just says it. Yes, they can. Well, they didn't in this particular case, Mr. Cat. But where's your what? I mean, you're just going to assert it. You're just going to drop it there for us. You're not going to show me anything. Christ.
So this cannot be Amic Farms property because there is a Maryland sign here. Come on, dude. Come on, Garvey.
one more time.
I'm not going to give it to you. I'll go. That's fine.
You got anything on you?
Not really, no.
Hands up.
What is he being arrested for? Schrödinger's cat. Why haven't you stopped the video? What is he being arrested for?
I got a phone and keys and a water bottle. This is ridiculous, guys.
So why are you making this difficult?
You're making it difficult. Lee was perfect. I'm not trespassing. You're ridiculous. I'll go to jail for it because you're full of shit.
Okay.
There's no way that this is their property. It has a sticker on it because...
So I guess he wasn't arrested. He just went through the guy's pockets. So Schrödinger's cat, nothing about the Terry frisk. What reasonable articulable suspicion do you think that the officer had that this guy was committing a crime and he was armed in the process of committing the crime? Armed trespassing. Oh, really? The guy's wearing, you say it later, the guy's wearing shorts. Oh, he's wearing short shorts. He's wearing a silly vest. Apparently a vest that's intended to make him more visible to motorists. And this officer just thinks that he can go through pockets. And yes, he does go through pockets, by the way.
making it difficult. Lee was perfect. I'm not trespassing. You're ridiculous. I'll go to...
So had Delaware Defender been arrested there, then the officer could have searched him as a search incident to a lawful arrest. But apparently Delaware Defender isn't under arrest at this point because he's not handcuffed. They're not putting him in a car. They're just still talking to him. So apparently that was a Terry frisk. Good luck justifying that one.
jail for it because you're full of shit.
Okay.
There's no way that this is their property. It has a sticker on it because Maryland owns it. They don't stick it on other people's
You
property.
need to call the plant manager out here and tell you that.
See, look at how close they are to the roadway. I mean, they're looking at each other dead on. I'd say that they're, what, 2, maybe 3 feet in? Not much at all.
You're on his
Well,
property?
get the property lines. He's got no idea. Why are you listening to them? You're the police.
Yeah, I know.
You don't know.
I do.
Clearly,
I'm
you have
telling you
no
now to get off
idea.
the property.
I'm not
I'm telling you now to get off the property. He's not on their property, dumbass.
on their property.
Buddy,
So you want me to stand in the street and get
you
a
can
ticket
stand
for...
on the street, stand across the road.
That's
there.
their property too then.
That's a public road right there. That's a road.
So is this.
You're not on the road. You're on the grass. That's
He's on the highway. He's on the shoulder of the highway.
Oh my
property.
God.
Oh, grass. That means it's their property. Brr.
You are ridiculous, Garvey.
Why isn't Schrödinger stopping this? I mean, I think he just wanted to play all of Delaware Defender's video uninterrupted to maybe cash in on it because he has like 3 or 4 ad breaks in this thing if you don't have ad block on.
You want me to go on the other side of the street?
And I'm gonna ask you one more time for your name.
I'm not giving
Oh, I'm going to ask you one more time for your name.
it. I'll move.
You have a lawful order to give me your name.
You asked me to leave, I'm gonna leave.
I gave you a lawful order.
A lawful order to give me your name. Now, again, Schrödinger's cat doesn't stop it. Now, I have searched, my friends, I have searched high and low for anything authorizing this chucklehead to give a lawful order for an ID. And there is no such animal in the Maryland codes. Now, if Delaware Defender was driving a vehicle, then he would have to have and present ID if he was stopped. But he's not driving a vehicle. So why isn't Schrödinger's cat stopping it and explaining to us how stupid this cop is?
To give me your name. So what is your name?
Oh my god, I guess I'm going to jail today. That's fine.
He sounds exactly like a petulant child.
You sound like a dick.
I'm surprised he isn't threatening to hold his breath. He would
I'm surprised that you make any money off this channel. You have nothing to offer.
rather be arrested than say his name.
He would rather be arrested than to give in to an unlawful order. Yes, there's this thing in the United States called freedom. Maybe you've heard of it. There is still some left. And one of those things that you have left is the right to not give ID if you don't want to in Maryland unless you're pulled over in a vehicle.
What is your name?
I'm going to jail. It's fine. Let's go. I'm not giving it. I'm not trespassing. You can't arrest me for trespassing because I'm not trespassing.
That is a fair statement of the law. He's not trespassing.
This is not their property.
It's not whose property is it?
It's
It belongs to the city.
an easement. This is county property.
I think it belongs to the city.
City property.
See, I told you he doesn't know what an easement is, and he just proved it.
Ah, but he did say that it was city property. And you didn't know that, did you, Mr. Cat?
Property cannot be owned by the government and be an easement. Those two
Property can't be owned by the government and be an easement. Yeah, it can. If the government owns, let's say, a national forest, and an individual citizen owns a piece of property within that national forest that the government doesn't own, then the person would theoretically have an easement to cross that government property, that forest. Maybe it wouldn't work if it was a national forest, but a state forest. I'm sure that there would be an easement for the person to travel out of his property to get to the road.
things are mutually exclusive.
They're not mutually exclusive.
According to Realtor.com, an easement is private property that others can use under certain conditions, such as utilities or right-of-way for access to a main road.
An easement is private property? I don't even understand it. It doesn't even say that here. It doesn't even say that it's private property. Nowhere in here does it say that. He just made all that shit up. An easement is generally a right to enter or pass through someone else's property. It doesn't necessarily have to be private. Typically, it is across private property. But it could theoretically be across government-owned property.
What an easement is not is an area of your property where an idiot frauditor can stand while he, quote, works on a news story.
Maybe you can. I mean, if it depends on the laws of the state, depends how easements work. There are easements across private property, for example, to get to public beaches, and as long as he's using it to get to the beach, I mean, there's no requirement that he make it to the beach in a certain amount of time. So if he stops to rest and takes pictures along the way, I don't think that there's anything particularly wrong with that.
It's city property. I do know. Well, I don't know.
But I mean, that, like, no links to any of that, and the second one was made up, and the first one was not even quoted. Like, it didn't even have anything to do with it. Let's just look at that again. What is an easement and why you might have to share your property? Right of way. This is where a neighbor may need to pass through the property via a driveway to access the main road. Utility maintenance. This easement is typically granted to utility companies to run power and cable lines on a property. HOAs and condos. If you live in a condo or home managed by a homeowners association, odds are that these institutions own much of the property, at least the public areas, while residents have rights to pass through. These are examples. This isn't an exhaustive list. I mean, your research skills suck ass. How can you be calling other people names when your research skills are this pathetic?
A news story.
It's city property. I do know.
It's city property. You just said it again. Okay, well, it looks like he is naming it correctly now.
Well, I don't know if it's a county. Maybe it looks like a county road sign to me, but that's the junction for the road up there. That's why there's light poles here. They don't own the electric company.
Yeah, that's true, but those are probably they probably have easements.
Come on, Garvey. There's a public easement. It's probably 33 feet from the center line of the road, or 18.
One of those guys, are you?
Well, it's just facts. It's facts that there's an easement for people to walk down the street. It's facts.
You're not in the street.
I don't want to be
He's on the highway.
in the street because I can get hit by a car in the street. That's why there's an easement, so I don't get hit. I'm not.
But you're on their property videotaping. You see what the problem is? This officer has two basic problems. Number one, he's videotaping. Officer doesn't like that. Number two, he has not respected the officer's authority. This is contempt of cop coming up right here.
So what are you doing?
You think I'm on their property, Lee?
Yes.
Then why didn't you do something then?
Because you were down there at the end of the street. It wasn't their property down there. Now
How? They own the whole thing over there. They have the whole yard. I was
you
ready.
know their property lines too?
Well, I know where the easements are.
Imagine how embarrassing it must be to get arrested because you don't know what an easement is.
Imagine how embarrassing it must be to think that someone got arrested because they didn't know what an easement was, when in fact they got arrested because a cop didn't know what the shoulder of the highway was, where the property lines were, or the rules of the road. Imagine how embarrassing that must be.
Why didn't he just look it up before he left the house?
Why didn't you look it up? You've had all this time. You made a 10-minute video on it. Well, I guess like 3 seconds of your content and the rest Delaware Defenders content. But why didn't you look it up? Why does he have to look it up when you don't? Either way, he didn't break the law.
There's an easement here. This is not their property.
This is their property. What's your name?
I just want to go to jail, man.
You want to go to jail?
I guess, yeah, because this is just getting bad. Because there's no way that this is their property.
Yeah, it is their property.
How do they own up to the street? There's a gas line in the road. They own the gas line under the road?
There can be a gas line on private property. I refer you back to the definition of easement.
I do this
He's going to refer us back to the definition of easement. Oh boy. All right, let's go back. Power and cable lines. Well, you know what? It doesn't say gas here. Sorry, buddy. But yes, technically you can run a gas line. It's just, this isn't a definition. This is not a definition. These are examples of easements.
Because you don't know what an easement is. Why didn't he just look it up before? Stupid everywhere? That's not something.
everywhere, like you've seen.
The definition of easement.
I do this everywhere.
You do you?
I do this all over the place. Typically Delaware, like you've seen.
You are stupid everywhere?
You are stupid everywhere. This is comedy, boys and girls. Laugh, ha ha ha. You are stupid everywhere.
That's not something to brag about.
Yeah, your comedy isn't anything to brag about either.
I'm sitting here trying to be nice with you and reason with you, but you want to be ignorant.
I'm trying to be nice. You're just being ignorant, says the guy who doesn't know anything about where the property lines are, says the guy who doesn't know what the rules of the road are, says the guy who's standing on the shoulder of the highway where pedestrians are supposed to be and doesn't even realize it.
I don't want to be in. I want my rights respected.
Trespassing is not a right.
But he wasn't trespassing, dumbass.
I have a lawful reason to identify you. You're wrong.
I have a lawful reason to identify you. So again, there is no requirement to provide ID to an officer until booking, at which time they can ask you for your ID, for your name and stuff. And I'm assuming you have to comply then, but there is no statute saying that even on arrest, you have to provide your ID.
Private property.
I wasn't. Then let's go for trespassing.
All right, we'll turn around.
Oh my God, Garvey.
And here he's getting arrested for trespassing. Look at where that post is right there. Not trespassing.
So you gonna give me your name now or not?
Well, let's wait till we get in there. Let's see your supervisor says something about this.
Supervisor.
So right there, you heard it. So you're going to give me your name now or not? Right there. If Delaware Defender had given the cop his name, I'm sure Delaware Defender probably they'd call it in, they'd do their little background check on him, and then they'd release him with a stern warning not to do it again.
You didn't plan on that, did you, Timmy? He is the supervisor.
Yeah, but he's stupid and he doesn't know what he's doing. And that's a problem. And why aren't you calling him out on it, Schrödinger's cat?
You're the supervisor. Yeah, I guess I will then. Wow. Standing next to a road sign, a public road sign. I can't believe you guys, man.
You asked them to arrest you, and now you're complaining about being arrested.
He dared them to arrest him. And they can't arrest him just because he asks. They still require probable cause that a crime was committed. And I don't think they have it. I mean, I guess technically the cops are allowed reasonable mistakes of facts and law, but I mean, this is not only a reasonable mistake of fact, but this is definitely a mistake of law, of several laws. Let's go into trespassing. There's two ways, according to Maryland code, that he could be trespassed. These are the only two that may theoretically apply. We're in Title 6 criminal law, Title 6 crimes against property. Section 6402 and 6403 are the only ones that may possibly apply, like use of motor vehicles, cultivated land, it's not cultivated, stable area of a racetrack, yeah, blah, blah, blah. Entry on property for the purpose of invading privacy of occupants, no. Refusal or failure to leave public building or grounds, no. It's not a public building or grounds. Wanton trespass on property of a government house, no. So it's either trespass on posted property or wanton trespass on private property. Now, in order for it to be trespass on posted property, it has to be, as you guessed, posted. It has to be posted conspicuously against trespass by signs placed where they reasonably may be seen. And I couldn't see any by looking on Google Maps. I don't see any signs, no trucks. I don't see any trespassing signs. Do you? So not conspicuous, kids. And so a penalty is, person who violates this section is guilty of a misdemeanor. So congratulations. Now, the other one that could possibly be, since there aren't any signs, is wanton trespass on private property. Now, that it is private property because it's owned by that farm. Entering and crossing property is prohibited. A person may not enter or cross over private property or board blah, 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 after having been notified. After having been notified by the owner or the owner's agent not to do so, unless entering or crossing under a good faith claim of right or ownership. Now, I think there's a couple problems here. Has he been notified by the owner or the owner's agent not to do so? Not that I've heard. He was notified by the cop. The cop may be acting as the owner's agent, and if that's the case, the cop's mistaken. And good faith claim of right or ownership, he has been uttering good faith claims of right or ownership. He's been uttering good faith claims of right. He's been saying there's an easement and he has the right to be there. And again, may not remain on private property, having been notified by the owner or the owner's agent. But he wasn't on private property, so neither one of these is going to work. So there you go.
You are very confused.
I can't believe this guy. Wow, you guys are something else.
Look, he's wearing shorts. What was the cop digging for? What kind of weapon?
You guys are something else, Lee. For some reason, Garvey had it out.
I mean, it could have been simple. You could have just gave him your name.
I don't have to, though. That's the whole point. What do you think this is?
Apparently,
What'd the cop say?
I mean, it could have been simple. You could have just gave him your name.
I don't have to.
Oh, it could have been simple. You could have just given him your name. I see. Contempt a cop.
That's the whole point. What do you think this is?
apparently you did have to because you're in the back of a police car.
Good. Apparently you did have to because you're in the back of a police car. No, he did not have to. There is no statute. If you took 10 seconds to try to find it, you would realize very quickly that there was no statute. He is under no obligation to provide ID to the cops just because they asked. Even after arrest, I don't think he has to provide it until he gets to booking. But I could be wrong on that.
And are you wearing short shorts?
Are you wearing short shorts? Yeah, it makes that Terry frisk all that much stupider, doesn't it?
They should tack on an extra charge for that.
The jokes are real, folks. The jokes are real.
Fine. I'm fine with it. It's the first time I'm arrested, so.
Good job, Daisy Duke. Your first
Good job, Daisy.
arrest. You got your first auditor merit badge.
Auditor merit badge. What about the cops? Like, what bonus do the cops get out of this? Do the cops get their first violating a citizen's rights merit badge? Do the cops get, I don't know, being a dick and arresting people just to be a dick merit badge? What kind of merit badge do the cops get, Mr. Comedian Guy?
Well, I guess we'll leave it here. The moral of the story is, if you're going to use a word to try to convince the police that you're not breaking the law, know what that word actually means.
How about this? How about the moral of the story is, if you're a cop, how about you know the law before you try to enforce things that aren't the law? How about that? You know what's funny? SC sounds a lot like sovereign citizen. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.